Have you been denied or cut off from long-term disability? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from DisabilityRights.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Ask a Lawyer Disability Law here on CP24. John Skoll is your host. As always, joining me momentarily, the real brains of the operation, James Fireman, will be here from Sanfiru to Market ST Lawyers. Reach out to James anytime. I'll give you the contact like I always do off the top of the show. Could be a simple phone call. Consultations are free, so grab a phone, right? 1-855-821-5900. Ask at DisabilityRights.ca. There's other websites and contact information throughout the show I will give you over the course of the 30 minutes. But that is ahead here in a little bit. Some phone calls from one of our radio shows that James and I do pretty much across the country. You can catch that locally here Saturdays, 1 p.m. on News Talk 1010 in the GTA. Great radio show. It's an hour. So we encourage you to always call in and ask your questions, and you might appear, or at least your voice will appear on this show later on. We also got a main topic today, things that you want to know, 5 things that insurance companies do that will kind of pull back the curtain on things you should know, and James will expand on that momentarily. But as we always start every show, James Fireman is here, week that was, or tell us at least what we're doing here every week, pal. What's going on?
John, thanks so much, and I'm so excited to be here. So if you're watching this, what you're going to hear in this half hour is information for anybody, regardless of where you are in the disability insurance process. And it's really critical. There is so much information that you need to understand, and what you're going to get is based on years, decades of experience dealing with disability insurance companies. Whether you're just starting out in the process and you just want some general information, you can sit back and you're going to find that here. If you're already engaged in the process and you want to go a little bit deeper, our website offers FAQs, the Pocket Disability Lawyer, answers to pretty much any question that you might have in more detail. But if you're already at a point where you're in a dispute with your insurance company, either they've denied your claim or perhaps you were approved and then cut off and you need a more tailored answer, you can give us a call. And in fact, every part of this is free. This television show is, of course, free, and our website is free. And if you call for a consultation, that's free as well. You're not going to be asked for a credit card. You give us a call, and you'll get free advice to help you decide how best to approach the situation. And let me give you an example of why this is so important. So Denise is a woman who contacted me 10 months ago. She's a police officer, and she had a significant back injury several years ago, and over time, it got worse. Eventually got to the point she wasn't able to continue in her job, and she went on medical leave. She applied for disability insurance, and thankfully she was initially approved. It was very clear she wasn't able to do a physically demanding job anymore. And for the first 2 years, she received her benefits. But at the 2-year mark, as we see happen very frequently, she was cut off. Her insurance company said that she was able to do another job. And this was even despite the fact she couldn't sit for more than 15 minutes without significant pain. She was having cognitive issues because of the pain that was there all the time. And of course, her doctors told her and told the insurance company that she wasn't able to work, not only in her job as an officer, but in any occupation. But the insurance company ignored her. And they cut her off her benefits, and she tried to deal with it herself. She went through the appeal process a couple of times, but got nowhere. So she gave me a call, free consultation. We spoke about it and decided that it was certainly a claim where I could help her. And just last week, we resolved her claim. The insurance company paid every dollar that she was entitled to from the date they cut her off up into the settlement, and then paid her a lump sum in the 6 figures, covering years into the future. And it all started out with a free consult.
Love it, James. You did mention briefly off the top, pocketdisabilitylawyer.ca. Simple website to use. It's anonymous. You go through a bunch of questions, drop-down menus. It filters you down whether you need to carry forth with a consultation with James and his company. Beyond that, at the website, or at least at the office anyway. Again, pocketdisabilitylawyer.ca to use that. I did mention the phone call. Radio show here locally, GTA News Talk 1010, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Please join us. Let's get to one of those phone calls now, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Here it is.
I have been off work now for 3 years, and I've got long-term disability for 2 of them. I'm actually fighting it now to get my benefits reinstated. Now, if at some point I get better, does the company have to take me back on my job?
You think, pal?
Well, it's an excellent question, and we see this type of thing all the time where people have issues not just with their disability insurer, but potentially with their employer, which is where a firm like Samfiru Tamarkin, who has expertise in both disability and employment law, really comes in handy. Now, this caller has the same issue as the person I was talking about in the last portion, Denise, who was cut off at that 2-year mark. We see that a lot. Here's the thing. If you're not able to work and your doctors are supporting that you are unable to work, then you are entitled to your disability benefits, full stop. But what is almost a universal truth is the people that call me, they want to go back to work. They want to return to their jobs. And the fact that this caller is asking what happens when I'm ready to go back to work tells me that's exactly the case here. And the reality is if your doctors are saying that you're able to return to work, your employer has an obligation to make reasonable accommodations. So your job certainly should be there for you. But if there is an issue, that's exactly why you need to have someone on your side who can deal both with the disability and with the employment law aspects of it, and that's what we're there for.
Coming up here, the top 5 weaknesses insurance companies make that you need to know about, so stick around for those that are important. Again, Disability Rights, any time to reach out to James and his crew as we continue. Nicely warmed up here. Stick around. We're coming right back. Ask a Lawyer, Disability Law here on CP24.
Do you have questions about your employment law rights? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Okay, welcome back to Ask a Lawyer Disability Law here on CP24. John Scholes, James Fireman from the firm ST Law, Samfiru Tamarkin LLP. Reach out anytime to James and his team. They love a phone call. It's a free consultation, by the way, so don't fear about that. Just pick up a phone and dial that number in front of you, 1-855-821-5900. You prefer email, ask@DisabilityRights.ca, or use that little QR code on the top right, and that'll take you there as well. Okay, we always do a weekly topic, a main topic for the show, James. This one's a big one. Top 5 weaknesses insurance companies have that you need to know about. Number 1, we love this one. Adjusters don't have 1, not 2. They have a large number of files and don't know your case inside out, so they're not hyper-focused on you, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think that when there are mistakes made in a disability file, that it's because the insurance company is out to get them. And that's often the case, but there are other reasons as well, and this is a big one. The insurance adjusters, the people who are in charge of making the decision about whether or not you're entitled to benefits, they are typically burdened with hundreds of files, and each of those files has hundreds, if not thousands, of pages of documents, medical documents that often they don't have the proper training to properly understand. And so when you're dealing with people who don't have the necessary training, who are burdened with heavy volumes of paper, you're inevitably going to get some mistakes, and that does happen frequently. We do see that all the time.
Number 2 on the weakness front here is this one. Insurance companies care about the bottom line only. Come on.
Yeah, well, I tipped my hand a little bit in the last one, but yeah, that is certainly an issue. Insurance companies are there to make a profit. That's the reality of the situation. They're corporations. They're in the business to make money, and they make money by paying as few in benefits, as little money as they possibly can in benefits. So their motivation, and that trickles down to the claims handlers, the adjusters that are making the decision. The motivation is to try and find any justification they can in order to cut off your benefits or deny your benefits at the first instance. So this is really the reason why when people say, I don't understand how my doctors are telling me that I can't work, and somehow the insurance company says otherwise, well, there's the mystery solved for you right there. It's a simple question of motivation.
We are talking the top 5 weaknesses these insurance companies have you need to know about. Number 3, James, insurance companies rely on a power imbalance. It's the whole David and Goliath thing, right? You are vulnerable, and they know it. They know it.
Yeah, I mean, think about the typical person applying for disability insurance. It's usually the first time they've ever been through the process, and invariably they are disabled by definition, either with a physical disability that's causing them pain and making it difficult to move around, or with a mental health issue. And in either case, dealing with an insurance company that does this day in and day out, and who has millions, if not billions of dollars in resources behind them, that is going to be daunting for most people. And that is a significant imbalance. And the insurance company is not only aware of it, but they play into that. They make the process purposely confusing. They make it so that you're not going to understand. So this is all done by design, and you have to be aware of that.
Weakness number 4, insurance companies focus on fraud and how rampant it is to dissuade legitimate claims. How does that work?
This is a red herring. This is something I've been hearing from insurance company for years. But the government has done studies on the instances of fraud, and it's negligible. It's almost nothing. These insurance companies are making millions, if not billions of dollars. And the reality is they want to create a stigma for anybody to even apply for their benefits, which is ridiculous. If you are disabled, if your doctors are saying that you're not able to work, then you absolutely should feel no regret whatsoever about applying for benefits that you're entitled to.
We'll get to one more of the weakness. Number 5, James, kind of goes back to the first one where you talked about adjusters and the overwhelming amount of work they got. And that is insurance companies make many mistakes when adjusting files, adjudicating files, right? There
is a universal truth, John. If your doctor has told you that you are disabled from work, and the insurance company has said, no, you're able to, they've made a mistake. It's as simple as that. And that's what we do. We go through the file and we figure out the mistakes that they've made. And typically when we get that file, there's going to be 5, 10, if not more mistakes that we're going to be able to find, uncover, and use against the insurance company to get the money that you're entitled to. And it just starts with a phone call.
Lots more to go here. We'll take a short break. DisabilityRights.ca to reach out. And of course, there's also PocketDisabilityLawyer.ca. More details on that as we continue. Ask a Lawyer, Disability Law here on CP24. Don't go anywhere.
Have you been denied or cut off from long-term disability? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from DisabilityRights.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Welcome back. Ask a Lawyer, Disability Law here at CP24. I'm John Scholes. Joining me, of course, James Fireman from the law firm, Samfiru Tamarkin. You want to reach out anytime, I'll give you that phone number. We'll pop it right up on the screen. Easy for you. 1-855-821-5900. Email is ask@disabilityrights.ca. Free consultation, so don't have any hesitance to pick up a phone and say, James, how about this? How do I handle this situation? Won't cost you anything to pick up a phone and get that consultation happening. It can be beneficial indeed. Now, over the last few weeks, James and his team, they got a lot of phone calls into the firm. They take a lot of phone calls on record. People leave messages. I want to play back a couple, James, that I think are important. This one you'll sink your teeth in right off the top. First one for the show is this. Listen up.
Why are mental health claims often denied by insurance companies? And how can you maximize the chances of getting approved?
Really good question, and it's a really important question to talk about because there is still a stigma attached to mental health disabilities. It's not what it used to be. 20 years ago, it used to be much worse, and insurance companies would routinely deny mental health claims without even thinking about it. We've changed as a society, and people understand that having a mental health issue doesn't mean that it's all in your head. Certainly not. But that doesn't mean that if you have a mental health disability, you can expect that the insurance company is going to validate that. The reality of what we see on a day-to-day basis is that mental health claims are more difficult to get approved. Now, it shouldn't be that way. And certainly our courts have said it should not be that way. But it is that way, unfortunately. And if you want to make sure that you're going to put yourself in the best position possible, it is critical that you go see your doctor as soon as you're feeling mental health issues or if you've had a trauma in your life, and you get a referral to see a specialist. Typically, you're going to want to see someone for counseling and perhaps even get a referral to a psychiatrist. Now, I'm not here to give medical advice. That's, of course, what you go see your doctor for. But what is critical is that you do go see your doctor and you make inquiries about what you can do to address your mental health, so that when you make the application for your disability benefits, if you're not able to return to work, they're going to see that it is being taken seriously by the medical team that you have, and that you are doing everything in your power to ensure that it is being addressed, that you're attending therapy sessions, that you're taking whatever medication is prescribed to you. So it's critical that if you're in this position, that you be proactive. And that can be difficult when you're suffering from mental health claims, for sure.
You know, quickly, James, is it still a factor that the insurance companies they still kind of dine out on the fact that there may be no physical evidence or no X-ray, no CT scan for a mental disability?
100. That gets right at the heart of why it is so much more difficult for people with mental health claims. If you have a broken leg, there's an X-ray, and that's in black and white. That's pretty hard to dispute. But there's no X-ray for mental health. And so that is why it is absolutely critical that you see your doctor, that you see your counselor, that you get referrals to specialists, and make sure that it is documented and that you are doing everything that you can, because that is the only evidence you're going to have to support the fact that you have an ongoing disability. There isn't going to be that X-ray there.
We got the first one. Here is the second audio question for the show tonight. James, listen up.
Can a long-term disability claim take over 6 months, even if the insurance company has requested and received additional information?
I really like this question. So can it take over 6 months? Yeah. Should it? No, no, it shouldn't. No, the insurance company, if you've given them the information, they shouldn't be taking more than a few weeks to go through it. The reality is, if they had enough adjusters looking over the files, they would be able to go through this in a matter of a couple of days, and that's what they should be doing. The experience is typically going to be much shorter than that, usually around a month or so. If they do say they need additional documents, which is often a stall technique, if they do say that, then it can get dragged out. But 6 months is inordinately long. And unless there's a really good reason for it, it gets to the point where you start thinking, okay, you know what, maybe it's time that we hire a lawyer and start a claim. If you want to find out, if you're in this situation and you want to find out whether or not you're in that spot, whether it's been long enough given your particular circumstances, give us a call, free consultation. We're happy to discuss your situation and figure out what the best path forward is going to be.
With that, James, we'll take a short break. You can hang out as well. We'll get to an email question to wrap up the show for this particular half hour, and contact information on the other side, too, as we continue Ask a Lawyer Disability Law on CP24.
If you've been denied or cut off from long-term disability, Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from DisabilityRights.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Welcome back. Ask a Lawyer Disability Law. We got a few minutes to go here. In that regard, we'll get to an email to wrap things up. First, I'll give you the contact information. Reach out to James Fireman and his team anytime. Phone number right there, 1-855-821-5900. Ask at DisabilityRights.ca. Scan that QR code. And a reminder, consultations won't cost you a penny. Reach out to that phone number to James and his team, and they will take care of you. So don't hesitate to do that. Okay, James, here's the email. For the end of the show, it says, my brother, a paramedic with PTSD, had his long-term disability claim denied because the insurer says he isn't totally disabled. He appealed but was rejected again. I'm worried his condition will worsen if he keeps dealing with the insurance company. What should he do? What do you think, pal?
Well, what he should do is give us a call.
Yep.
Again, it's a free consultation. But when I look at this email, I bump on a couple of things. And the first is that phrase, totally disabled, which appropriately had quotations around it. Totally disabled is the language used by the insurance company that defines the test of whether or not you're entitled to your benefits. And so when people hear that phrase, totally disabled, what they think is the common use of totally disabled. People think, oh, totally disabled must mean you can't get out of bed, you can't shower for yourself, you can't put your clothes on, you can't feed yourself. That's what people think of when they think of the term totally disabled. But in disability insurance, it doesn't mean anything close to that. If you look in your policy, totally disabled is defined in the actual policy itself. And all it means is that you are suffering from a disability that prevents you from doing your own occupation. That's it. That's all it means. It means you can't do your job. There are plenty of people who have that level of disability, but are still perfectly able to get out of bed, perfectly able to do errands for themselves, to dress themselves, to bathe themselves. But they use the phrase totally disabled because it is purposely deceitful. It is confusing, and people are likely to get the wrong idea about it, so that when the insurance company says, sorry, you don't qualify for benefits because you're not totally disabled, people will say, well, I guess that's true. I'm not totally disabled. That's not what it means. It just means that you're not able to do your job. And if your doctors have told you that you're not able to do your job, then you are totally disabled under the policy. The other thing that I bump on when I look at that email is that this person has appealed a couple of times. Appeals are a waste of time. The appeal is offered by the insurance company simply as a way of providing you some measure of hope after they tell you they're not going to pay your benefits. Because if they don't do at least that, they know that the first thing people are going to do is they're going to call a lawyer. And as soon as that happens, the insurance company loses control over the process. And all of a sudden, they have to act reasonably. Until you do that, there is nothing that is holding the insurance company to any sense of reasonableness. They can do whatever they want, and there is no consequence until you start a lawsuit. Until you call us and you start the legal claim, the insurance company can do whatever they want. And that's what the appeal process is. The appeal process isn't something that's independent, that's being decided by some judge or independent arbitrator that isn't associated with the insurance company. The appeal is typically done by the very same adjuster, or perhaps the supervisor of the adjuster, that made the wrong decision in the first place. And we know the insurance company has a built-in incentive. They've got a profit motive to maintain that denial. So if you think that they're going to change their mind unless you've got information that significantly changes the medical landscape, then you're fooling yourself. And all the appeal is going to do is waste your time. And if it takes 2 years to go through this appeal process, and sometimes it does, then you're not going to be able to bring a lawsuit. There's a 2-year limitation that starts the moment that you get denied. And if you appeal, you're risking running out of that time.
And it won't just be once. There can be multiple appeals, right?
They'll let you appeal as many times as you want in most cases because they don't want you doing the alternative.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
That is about it for this show. Thank you so much, James, and thank you for tuning in. If you contributed with your phone calls or emails, we thank you as well. Keep bringing them in. Keep bringing them in. We'd love to get them on air and talk about it. In the meantime, always reach out to James and his team. It is a free consultation. Again, phone number 1-855-821-5900. Ask at DisabilityRights.ca and that website. Use it again. See if you even need that consultation. Pocket DisabilityLawyer.ca. Good stuff. We'll catch you next time right here. Ask a Lawyer Disability Law on CP24.